Hello everyone, and welcome back to 4KB Shorts Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program with Kerbal Space Adventures. We need about 1,000 more science before we can, well, begin our project. This entire season has been dedicated solely to the purpose of acquiring science in order to start a project. And that has not been as much fun as I had hoped. Well, it was fun getting all the science and everything, but as time went on, and as the parts and the pieces got more and more expensive, and as the amount of science we had to acquire got higher and higher and higher, it became increasingly obvious that fun was not what the Interstellar guys had in mind when they designed their tech tree. Work is what they had in mind. So I cut out some of the work and replaced it with some fun. And we still have a little bit of science left we gotta scrape up in order to get our project on the go. So, because of that, we're going to take a fun trip. We're going to take a fun trip, and hopefully it will be our last trip. Not in the explosion dying sense, but in the something good will come of this sense. And with that, we have a very special ship that we put together. And we should be able to zoom up, and there she be, coming out of the sky there. The Touchdown 1. That's right. Touchdown for several reasons, but mostly because that's what rocket ships tend to do when they touch down nicely, is touch down rather than crash. So this is a Touchdown 1. She will be taking 3 Kerbals to Duna. Not on her own, mind you. As you can see, she has a lot of engines, but not a lot of Delta V. Only about 3,500 Delta V in her current state. Maximum of about 4,500 Delta V once a few of the parts have been jettisoned and some of the stuff taken off. She will be heading to Duna on the back of a hitchhiker. That hitchhiker will take her into orbit, where it will dock with another hitchhiker that's already in orbit, refuel, and then bring them back home after the Touchdown has gone down to Duna, acquired a ton of science, and come back up and reattach itself to the hitchhiker. So that's all going to happen. It's going to go out, going to land, going to come back. The hitchhiker is going to dock with the other hitchhiker, get all the foodie fuel noms and everything. It's got food source, it's got food stuff on it, it's got fuel on it, it's got everything you need in order to make a trip to Duna and then back again perfectly safely, provided it's designed well. Now, I can tell you that the ship will take off from Duna provided it lands softly. What I can't guarantee is that it's going to land softly. The number of parachutes we have is enormous, but that doesn't mean that it's a perfect design, and it's really hard to test it here on Kerbin. So there's still an air of mystery and fear in there. But once we do that, once we get that there and bring them back safely, we will hopefully have enough science to finish the tech tree, at least to the point where we can get what we need and get moving on the big project that we were supposed to be working on this entire time. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, I'm going to choose the crew off camera because it's getting a little bit more complex to choose the crew because they're starting to get kind of squished together and more people have taken a flight, so it's getting kind of hard to grab all the crew. I'm going to make sure I have all the parts and pieces all tied down to action groups, so it makes our flight a little bit easier. And then once that's all done, I will see you guys out on the launch pad so we can launch this thing into space. We will then dock in orbit, we will then leave, and then we will see you guys at Duna. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay out the plan right there for you, right 100%, so that we can go and do that. So that's what we're going to do. So I will see you guys out there on the launch pad when we're ready to get this thing up into the sky, and then in orbit, then to Duna. And I should really stop saying that and just get moving, because I'm nervous. I'm nervous that this is going to go well or not. And, yeah, so I'll see you guys out there. Alright everyone, here we are outside. We are doing a daytime launch, lucky for us. The phase angle for Duna is perfectly fine. We just have to dock with our craft in order to get on our way. We have Malfunction Mike, Tars the Great, and Nicholas Bell as our 3 intrepid adventurers on their way to Duna. So we're going to go ahead and, well, get to full speed, and we're going to take off. Now, the frame rate's going to drop really, really low for this, but after the first stage, as long as anything doesn't go wrong, I will be cutting, and then we'll just see each other in orbit. If something does go wrong, you'll be the first to know. So let's go! Ooh, yeah, very laggy when all the clamps don't go off at the same time. That's scary. Alright, we can ignore this little pink thing. That's where Duna is right now. That's actually where Duna is right now. That's what we're locked onto, is we're locked onto Duna. So we should be fine going up, though. Again, once that first stage kicks out, we are just going to go ahead and keep recording, and then I'll cut if nothing else, if nothing goes wrong. Looks like we're burning all of our fuel relatively evenly. Ship is not trying to tilt in any one direction or another. That's always a good start. I had to rebuild this entire lower section, so I'm not 100% on whether or not it is functioning 100%. We do have a thrust to rate ratio of about 3.2. So that'll fluctuate as we go up, but for the most part it should remain like it is. We will overheat that center engine just a teeny tiny bit, but it shouldn't be so much that it causes us any kind of problems. And because of the low frame rate, it is taking forever to get through that first stage. Boy, here we go, and gone. And it looks like everything's going okay except for a teeny tiny bit of overheating, but we should be fine. So I'll see you guys in orbit. Alright everybody, welcome back. As you can see, we're about to dock these two vehicles together. If you notice, this is the helping hand, I believe is what I call this little guy. Well, it doesn't tell the name unless we're on another ship. And as you can see, we have the touchdown one directly below us, about to be clamped onto with one of these extended docking ports. In fact, I put the extended docking port on there on purpose, so I would not do something silly like that, so that if there were an issue... Okay, I'm not controlling this from where I should be controlling this, and that's causing some problems. Let's go ahead and switch to control from here. And, oh yeah, that's going to make things a lot more complex. Okay, so we want to rotate, not that way, we want to rotate. Which way do we want to rotate? We want to rotate this way, okay. Let's turn off our SAS so it's not fighting us quite so much. We want to back, okay, I hope a ramming incident is not about to occur, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be one. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to back up. There you go. We want to rotate is what we want to do. We're having, as I said, I'm having a little bit of difficulty here. Massive frame rate loss. We're still down to 5-6 frames. It is something on the landing craft. It is absolutely something on our landing craft. I don't know what piece or what part it might be. I'm pretty sure it's the struts that are holding the engines on, and the sad part about that is we have to keep those for a very, very long time throughout this entire flight. So I'm hoping that without everything else attached, maybe that won't be such a problem anymore. But for the moment, at least, we do still have the problem of it really slowing down the game. So as you can see behind us there, we have Duna, Ike in the center on the other side. Very pretty. It's, of course, hard to feel that it's pretty when you're trying your best not to ram the only vehicle that can take you home with another vehicle that can't take you home because there's no way to dock to it. I don't think. I'm pretty sure I designed this to be... well... nope, yep, you can't dock to it. So, there's only one way, and that's this way. So I'm going to be docking to this very poorly because I came in thinking I was going to be so awesome, and I was going to come in and just magically swoop down and clump and stick on there, and the low frame rate has caused that to be not a thing that I can do. So we have to do this a slightly different way. And hope for the best. Now, it will dock. It will dock. That's not a problem. It's just the slow frame rate makes it a pain. So as you can see, this is very similar. The Helping Hand is very similar to the Hitchhiker in the fact that it is... Wait. Alright, I have no idea where we are at this point. Oh, I see. We're tilted. We're tilted. Alright, so if we rotate, and we want to rotate... Not that way. We want to rotate this way. Is that right? Alright, well, we had this in Kerbin orbit, and now I can't seem to get it in Duna orbit, and that's starting to get... Okay. Okay, it's lying to me. I'm not sure what bit of it is lying to me, but something is lying to me. Can we set this as... Oops. Uh-oh, that's not good. What is... Oh, did I just unset the target? Set as target. Okay, unset... Yeah, that's the right one. It's just... Okay, it's lying to us. I'm not sure why it's lying to us, but it's lying to us. It's doing it badly. So I am just going to go ahead and take control here. And I'm going to ignore all this. I'm going to ignore all this. It can... Don't care. I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at this, and this says that clamp and that clamp are the same, or where they're supposed to be, and then the ball says that they're not, and you know what? It's too close for me to care that much. This is close. It may not be perfect, but it's a lot closer than what that says we are. So, if we could just clamp on there, I'd be... Oh, it's trying. It's trying. I came in kind of sideways, but it's trying. Alright, just give it a little bit of a kiss. Just a teeny tiny kiss, nothing special, you can do it. And there it is, a nice little kiss on there for it. So of course now we're very pretty indeed. Okay, now we get to do, bye-bye frames, it was nice knowing you. Okay, so now we get to do some fun stuff. We have to move some things around. Now, what we mostly have to move around is garbage, and the reason we have to move garbage around is because, well, garbage and fuel. So let's see, this thing has some fuel left in it. Not very much, mind you, but a little bit. Let's see, where are... Ooh, that's not good at all. Okay. So it had about 5,000 units of Delta V left in it. And we're going to go ahead and work with that. We're just going to take it all out. This thing is not supposed to go home or anywhere else, as a matter of fact. It's out here specifically for this purpose. We used up a lot of its internal fuel to get here and to run around out here, but it's got enough left to fill up a couple tanks, which is more than enough to get us home, I hope. I mean, I never really did the math. I really should have taken the time and done the math, and I never bothered. I was like, who needs math? Alright, so this is going to take a little bit with these frame issues. I think what we're going to do after this is, I'm going to get everything set up. I'm going to do some science right out here around Duna. I think I should do that while I'm still concerned about, well, we can do the science and then I'll collect it off camera. And I say that because collecting it on camera, doing all these transfers and collecting it on camera and all that is going to be a big pain. I suppose we could do, can I not, please, with the right click? Okay, there. Oh, frames have gone really bad. Really bad frames. Alright. So we'll get all the fuel out. We'll do the fuel at least so that we have the fuel. I'll do the food off camera because I'm going to dump the waste, re-add the food. I made a miscalculation. I will say I made a miscalculation. I thought when it said 683, it meant 683 days. It meant 683 units. That's 683 units divided by 3 Kerbals. That's about 200 days. So our actual day count right now is 342 days, which is great if we're waiting for a return window. And then once we leave, we can just transfer all the waste and the fuel and the food and everything and then fly home, and we'd have more than enough to fly home. So this is going to be like an impromptu space station for the moment. Now, what else? Oh yeah, we're going to do some science. So while we're sitting here, let's go ahead and perform some scientific fun with our really poor frame rate. Gravity scan while in space near Duna. The sensor passes over the mottled surface of Duna. Gravity appears lowest in the massive canyon that stretches across the surface. It's 140 science right off the top. Now, I didn't grab any science on the way here. I forgot. So on the way back, if I remember, we're going to grab some more science in front around the sun, because that's going to give us more of that science. 2 is our temperature scan, collected and recorded temperature data from the environment. That's 56 science. 3, I don't think we can use out here. Yeah, I don't believe. 4... Oh, mystery goo observation around there, Duna. Okay, that's 70 science. Goo feels right at home. Yeah, good. And then I think 4 was... Yeah, okay, there it is. 4 was the materials bay, which is right... it's jammed on here somewhere. Wow, look at those frames just drop. Yeah, it's, by the way, what you guys are if you guys are wondering what's broken, it's these right here. These little things that the parachutes are attached to, they do not like KSP. They're pretty and they work, but as soon as you plug them onto a ship, they do horrible things to your frame rate. Materials study while in space near Duna. The high radiation environment caused a few of the samples to glow. It looks like it would be fun to paint the rocket with this. Of course it would. It's another 175 science. Is a good start. 5 is, I think 5, atmospheric pressure can't be done, and neither can the other little dealy bob that's on our ship. Those two have to be done on the ground. Alright, so there's our scientific data. I don't know who to send out on the EVA first. I suppose we could just, well, let's see. Mr. Malfunction Mike. I like the name. And I like the name. The reason I like the name is because Malfunction Mike sounds like the kind of name you'd give to an engineer. You know, it'd be like a nickname. It's like, that's Malfunction. He fixes things. Which, of course, becomes confusing. So we're going to save really quick in case of massive crashes. And we're going to go ahead and let Mr. Mike right outside the door. There he goes. So he is now the first Kerbal to EVA around Duna. Expect a ribbon out of that, Mr. Mike. Alright, so let's go ahead and light him up. As you can see, we're going to have a little bit of issues here. Let's see if we can get our Kerbal straightened out. Now, his job is to go around collecting all sorts of scientific data. We're going to have to zoom in. Ooh, so as you can see, I stuck all the scientific data collecting equipment out here on top of the ship, and the reason for that is so that we can take it back with us in case we want to grab a what's the word I'm looking for? There it goes, grab that data. In case we want to grab an extra sample and just carry it back inside one of the machines, which you can do. I don't want to grab that. I want to take the data. All right. All items have been stored. These two are empty. And, oh, here's the materials bay here. Oh, we also have this guy. Oh, we forgot to do, we also need to do a crew report out here, and an EVA report while we're out here. Alright, we'll take that. It's been so long since I've done actual Kerbal science, I'm lost and confused. Yeah, so the bits that's causing the frame rate issue are these frameworks. There's 3, and then there's 4 of stacks, so there's 12 of them, and for whatever reason they wreak havoc on the frame rate, and I did not realize that. On the prototype of this, I used a different item here, but the prototype device that I used was not available. I did the test build in sandbox mode, and so I did not have the part I needed to do this, so I rebuilt it using these because I thought they'd work, and they do. They just don't work well, is I think the problem. Okay, so here we go with Mike out here. He's very excited. Yay! Alright, so let's go ahead and do an EVA report. You've recorded your observations about the situation. 56 science. Whole 56 science we got there. Now, we can transmit some of this data home if we felt like it. But I'm not a huge fan of transmitting, so we're not going to transmit 100%. We are just going to go. Probably would be safer to transmit some science, but we're not going to. Oh, no. We're going to be silly. Alright, and while we're here, we will do a crew report. The planet is very red and appears to have deep brown furrows across the surface. There does appear to be some kind of ice at both poles, though. Nice. Alright, and that's near Duna. And again, we didn't do any Kerbal science coming in. These are the first Kerbals, in fact. Malfunction Mike, Tars the Great, and Nicholas Bell are the first 3 Kerbals in this season to leave the local Kerbin system. So they will be the ones who have to bring back that science. We can't be saying, oh, no, we'll do it later. We have been out here for 90 days, which isn't so bad. It took us 89 days to get here. And that was 89 days of food out of 200. But again, we have like 360 some odd days. We're fine. Our biggest hurdle now is landing on the planet and then taking off again. And I think the bigger of the 2 hurdles is the landing part. And the reason for that is because we will be performing an unassisted parachute-only landing. And that's not going to be an easy thing. That's not going to be an easy thing because you have to come in shallow. You have to stay shallow. Like very shallow, as you reduce speed, and then you have to open up your parachutes. Now, all the parachutes will open simultaneously, but they're designed to fully deploy at 3 separate altitudes on 4 sets of parachutes, or basically 2 sets are to open at 5,000, 2 sets at 4,000, 2 sets at 3,000. I believe those are the settings I have on them, so that it staggers the impact, because opening up your parachutes at very low altitude on Duna all at once causes massive ripping and tearing and terrible death. So, now we do have a 3.0 thrust to rate ratio, so we could slow ourselves down manually if we need to. But the wiggle room we have for the amount of fuel we need to get back up off the surface is not conducive to do that for more than a couple of seconds. We don't have that much fuel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and complete some of the transfers here to make sure these guys have enough food, because some of the food canisters are right here on the edges and they've been used up a little bit. They probably have like 4 or 5 days. Yeah, they have like 2 units here and then 2 units in each of those, and then they have what's in the capsule, and that's just enough to get them down there. It lasts like 10 days or so, which is more than enough. We probably won't even be down there a day, but I want to make absolutely sure that there's no problems. Better safe than sorry and that kind of thing. So our first extrasolar trip to Duna, well, not extrasolar, extraplanetary, because we're still within the solar, well, the Kerbal. They don't call it Kerbal. A lot of people do, but it's not. It's just the sun. Officially, it's just the sun. All right, I'm going to stop procrastinating. I'm going to get everything set up, and then I'll see you guys most likely when we're burning our way through the atmosphere, and I'm crying about how horrible things are going. So I'll see you guys there. All right, everybody, we are down deep enough in the atmosphere. I think it's about time that, well, we record this momentous event. The downside is this momentous event may come at a slight cost, because that's a really big hill coming up there. And our altitude terrain is 13,000 meters. Our actual altitude is 18,000 meters. And that hill looks taller than where we are. No, I know that ravine. So I know where we are, and I know that that's mostly hill over there. So I'm having to debate whether or not we are going to be able to. Yeah, it looks like we have reached the pinnacle of our descent. So I think, for safety's sake, and for the sake of the crew, we may want to initiate our parachutes sooner rather than later in order to start slowing us down. That would be my guess. Because our apoapsis height is dropping, our periapsis height is gone, which means we are, once this number reaches this number, that's it, we're done. So, oh yeah, okay. The atmosphere is not yet thick enough to hijack our parachutes. So our parachutes are open, but they're not doing us any good. So we may come down a little bit harder than originally planned. As an unfortunate side effect about landings on Duna, it's a very hilly area and there's not a lot of sky to work with. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure some of the mountaintops poke out of the atmosphere. And in fact, if we do a scan right now, well, okay, now we're in the atmosphere. So since we're in the atmosphere, temperature scan from Duna's upper atmosphere, collected and recorded temperature data from the environment. We'll keep that. I believe that's a goo canister we're now scanning. You observe the goo. 50 science, okay. Now the materials bay is going to take a second to open up while we're flying through the air, without a care in the world. And you expose the material samples to the environment, taking notes of how it behaves. A very generic description. 5 gives us atmospheric pressure scan from Duna's upper atmosphere. Ah, good. Collected and recorded atmospheric pressure data from the surroundings. That gives us 60 science. Awesome. Now, I believe that's the only one we can use. I think the last one is off the rig. Yeah, we can't use it right now. We're just going to keep floating. I'm not going to ignite our engines. One of two things are going to occur. We're going to bounce off that hill, or our parachutes are going to open soon and start dragging us down. We are coming in kind of sideways, though, which makes me a little bit nervous. Now, I wasn't able to fill up all these containers 100%, all the food containers 100%. And the reason why is because I realized, as I was filling them up, that they weren't full when we took off. I actually had them brought down to about 6 rather than 10 days apiece. Because of that, I dumped the waste, but I left the 2 remaining units of food, water, and oxygen in there. That leads up to a total of 12, and then there's 3 in the cabin. And basically we have about 4 days worth of food, water, and oxygen for all 3 Kerbals, so that's not too big of a deal. So they should be fine. 4 days is more than enough. I mean, honestly, I'd be surprised if we spend more than 4 hours on the surface. As sad as that is, as much as I'd love to spend so much time exploring all the nooks and crannies of Duna, unfortunately it does not have the biome mass to do that. Once you have landed and taken your first sample, you have landed and taken your last sample. That's all you really need. So this hill looks like it's going to pass, well, I want to say it looks like it's going to pass under us relatively uh, easily, but I also don't want to say that because if, well, I just technically did. But if I actually say it out loud in an assured manner, pretty sure we're going to leave some parts scattered along the top of a mountain as we smack across it. I'm hoping that there's a valley on the other side of this ridgeline. Because this mountain is actually very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? No. It's more of an illusion? The mirage, whatever you want to say. It's very confusing. I can't think of the synonym. It's basically, it's lied to us. It lied to us. It looks like it's one big hill, and then you'll cross it when it turns out to be a long ridge. And again, right over, I mean, it's like right there, there's a horizon. You're like, oh, maybe there's something over that. But I'm pretty sure what we're going to find over that is the same thing we're finding over this, which isn't much. Now, we're only 4,000 meters off the surface. And the ground is coming up to meet us very quickly. But we're going to continue to coast in. As soon as these parachutes open, bad things are going to happen. We're doing 814 meters per second. I'm not sure the parachutes alone are going to stop us. Again, we have enough fuel to stop. We do. We have enough fuel to stop. And we have enough thrust to rate ratio to take off again without even a single issue. But the more fuel we use going down, the less we have going up. And I'd rather have more going up than not. We're also running out of power because all of my solar panels are pointed away from the sun. And the SAS unit is, of course, drawing a lot of power to keep us straight because I don't know how aerodynamic the ship is. It seems fairly aerodynamic since our power draw is only like 0.2 or 0.12, 0.24 when it's wiggling. So that's not too bad. Now, those parachutes are going to open soon, I hope. I don't know what the atmospheric pressure is. Atmospheric pressure is 4 point... Well, this is not in the same units as this. Yeah, minimum pressure is 0.01. I don't know what 0.01 is in pascals? I think that's what PA is a pascal. I don't know what atmospheric pressure is in that. I'm assuming it's when this reaches 1. 0.1 is the equivalent of 1, I would assume. So I'm hoping that that's... Wow, okay, we came over the ridge and we hit, well, another ridge, but it's going down, I think. Yes, no, it was. It's not. It's hard to tell. 8,000 by 10,000, we're 2,000 meters off the surface, roughly 2,000 meters off the surface, and it's getting close. Oh, how it gets close. We're going to tilt ourselves up. So we're passing below the cloud layer. See, this entry into the atmosphere is not nearly as violent and horrendous as that into Kerbin atmosphere. And I see that Mr. Mike and Tars and... there they go, and Nicholas Bell are all very nonplussed by the current proceedings. Gear down, in case. Now, these are going to open at a true altitude of 5,000, 4,000, and 3,000 meters. What I'm hoping that means is that things won't rip off. Actually, our surface speed is about 500. That... Apart from weight distribution, that should be fine to not rip the ship apart. Now, the ones that are supposed to open first are these here, and I think a couple on this so that there's no real differential between the opening parachutes. So I'm going to try very hard not to ignite our thrusters, but there's no guarantee that that's not going to be a thing. Oh, we're only about 300 meters off the ground. This is fine. This is a pretty good valley. All right, that should have been 5,000. Oh, that's not 5,000 proper, is it? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There we go. There's 5,000 proper. Okay. Whoa, G-forces are super mega high. But wow, we basically just stopped. Not mega stop, but nobody died. And there was no tearing sounds. And those two things turn out to be very wonderful. Now, the biggest issue at this point, I think, is when we land, either we have to land on something relatively flat, or we have to land with a wide enough base on our ship to where relatively flat doesn't matter. Considering the location at which we're landing, I'm pretty sure relatively flat went out the window quite some time ago. Let's go ahead and turn off our SAS unit. We shouldn't flip. We shouldn't flip. I'm concerned. I'm going to try to hold the ship manually, but we shouldn't. Okay, good. Our parachutes are our center of mass is, well, our parachutes are about at center of mass. We're kind of rocking on that want to flip over zone. I worry, though, that our solar panels are not drawing... Why are you drawing so much power? Sun blocked by Ike? Really? Are we experiencing an eclipse? Really? Can't be blocked by Ike. Ike's right there. Oh, maybe it's just lying to us because the sun hasn't come up yet. We're gonna be running low on power. I hope that dawn comes soon. Because you say blocked by Ike, and we know that it's not blocked by Ike. It's just not bright enough out there yet. Alright, so our third set of parachutes, as you can see, still aren't open, or, well, you might not be able to see it. Our third set of parachutes should be opening soon. Yeah, there they are. Those ones right there have not even opened yet. I believe they're set to open at 3,000 meters, which means this 15 meters per second should drop again on the way down. Now, we're not using any SAS, which is great. Downside is we only have 56 units of power left, and we don't have any way of generating power from within the ship. We have about an hour's worth of power after the power dies. Well, it's not an hour's worth of power. It's a... How does it work? It's an hour's worth of not dying after the power goes out, is basically how it works. And it should open soon-ish. Okay, did the last parachutes not open? No. Oh, maybe I put it at 2,500 or 2,000 meters. Okay, well, that's fine. I guess. Still nervous making, but we'll keep it going. I would fast forward time, but I'm so worried about something going wrong. Oh, okay, we're still, well, that's the atmosphere thickening. They shouldn't have opened yet. Come on, parachutes, open! It's only like 2 or 3, well, there's 4 of them left, I think. I think I have this set up in quads, so there should be 4 remaining parachutes, possibly 8 remaining parachutes that have not opened yet. I'm pretty sure it's 2,500, if it's not 2,000. And open, maybe, a little bit. And no, it's 2,000. Okay, well, yeah, those last parachutes will open before we hit the ground. We may have to soften the impact with a slight burst from the engines, but again, not too big of a problem. We're at 50 units of power. It's draining rather quickly. Or at least it looks like it's draining quickly. It's really not. Because the number before the decimal point is what's really drawing my eye. A nice, slow, gentle landing on Duna without, well, with massive amounts of stress. I'd say without too much stress, but honestly, with as slow as this is, especially with the frame rate, with the power dropping, with the parachutes not fully open yet, with the fact that we're only 1,400 meters off the ground, the fact that we don't know what the ground even looks like from here. I mean, we can see the rocks, but even that we can't really get a topographical scan of it because everything looks the same. It becomes extremely difficult to... Are those parachutes opened? Those parachutes are not open, and no, they're not. They're not deployed. If they're not deployed, what's the what did I put? 4,000, 5,000. That is a modular girder grid thing causing frame rate issues. 4,000, 3,000. So apparently they are open. They just don't look like they're open because of the way they're overlaid. That's got to be it. But honestly, those parachutes, these ones right here, I can look at them. They don't look like they're open. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but that's okay. That's okay. We need to 11 meters per second. If we hit too hard, we will shatter not the landing legs per se, but we will shatter the engines if we bounce. And if we bounce and break those, oh, dust storm! Come on, really? A dust storm right now? I can't. I'm gonna have a hard enough time seeing the ground as it is, and you're gonna throw a dust storm at me. And that thing is not moving slow. Oh, thankfully, it's only a visual effect. Well, it's not really thankfully, it's only a visual effect because as a visual effect, it's like the fog on Minmus. You see it and you can't see through it. It's like pea soup. And the ground is coming up on us, and that is coming up on us, and we're going to have a... We were landing in a nice safe zone too, and we're at 10 meters per second, and we got to at least go down to about 3 or 4 or our gear are going to shatter. 500 meters off the ground, and our visibility is about to vanish. Well, that's nice. We get to be overtaken by a genuine Duna sandstorm. I don't think that's something to really be super excited about, but now it's really going to do my head in because it looks like the ground is moving. And we are nearly enveloped. Oh yes, there it goes. Okay, so now we are officially enveloped in a sandstorm, a Duna sandstorm. The sun is not up even though it is, because it says it's blocked by Ike even though it's not. We're running low on power. We're going a little bit too fast to actually touch. Oh, we can see our shadow, thank you. Oh, no, nope, nope. That's our shadow is there, then, yep, there it is. Blocked by Ike. That we ran into an eclipse. We're parachuting down onto Duna during an eclipse, and there's a sandstorm. If ever there was a planet that didn't want you to land on it, this is the one. This is the planet that says, nope, not happening. Oh my. Oh, just, yeah. This is it right here. This is the image. This is what you're looking for. Like, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? Didn't even have to say it. There it is. A sandstorm and other things and stuff and such, and we're 66 meters off the ground. Okay, we're gonna burn off a little tiny bit of fuel. A little tiny bit more than that. We want to hit the ground as gently as possible. 2.6. And stay. And we did it! We landed on Duna during a sandstorm and an eclipse! That's nice. And we can see now that Ike is doing its thing and it's moving for us, thankfully. Well, technically Ike isn't moving for us. Ike is in a geostationary orbit. The planet is turning fast enough to where the sun is poking out from behind Ike. So Ike will remain right there in the sky. The sun will just eventually poke out from behind it and refuel our power nodes, I hope, eventually. Maybe. Blocked by Ike. Oh, come on, Ike, show some love, buddy. It's running out of power. Yes, I know it's running out of power. It has something to do with a perfect storm, I think is what we're going for here. Thankfully, as far as I'm aware, the sandstorm won't block the sun, or at least not enough for it to matter. Ah, light! Let there be light and let there be power, and there it is. Oh, Ike, thank you for letting the sun go and letting our batteries recharge. Yay! There it is. All right. So let's go ahead and save. Let's go ahead and save. And oh, wow, Eye of the Storm. Really? Well, sort of. It's kind of over. No, that's yeah, okay. Yeah, we the sun comes out and we're at the eye of the storm. Wow. Random sandstorm just right across. Okay, well, you know what? No time like the present. We have to get out and we have to do some science stuff, so let's go ahead and drop some ladders. Yes, I did remember to bring ladders. I did not remember to assign them to a hotkey, so we have to do them manually. We still have a very bad frame rate, though, only 9 frames per second, but we're coping. Now, Mr. Mike was the first one to get out before, and I suppose that we could have him get out again, but when it comes to firsts and things like that, there's always a first here and a first there, and everybody wants to be first to do things. And so we're going to go ahead and let Mr. Bell go first. That's right, we're going to let Mr. Bell go first. So he's going to get out and hopefully not fall off. There you go. And he's going to rather ceremoniously test the ladder to make sure it works, which apparently it do. And he is going to be the first Kerbal right here to set foot. He's going to flop, just so you know, but he's going to be the first Kerbal to set foot right here on the surface of Duna. So here he goes. Flop. And flop. Oh! Mr. Bell with a perfect dismount. Oh, yes. So he's out here during a sandstorm, but you know what? Honestly, who cares? Who cares? He's out here during a sandstorm, and who cares? So while he's out here, let's go ahead and grab some science. We are going to take a surface sample. The surface consists of a grainy, very fine, sand-like dust. It appears to be getting everywhere. We're going to keep that. We're going to do an EVA report as well. After much testing, you determined that red sand castles are plausible. Ah, red sand castles. Excellent. Alright, Mr. Bell. Now, I'm not going to have Mr. Bell get back inside. He's going to hang on to his scientific data there. What we're going to do is we're going to switch back to the other ship. We're a very laggy ship. And we're going to have, Tars. We're going to have Tars come out. He's going to come out. And he's not going to grab the data either. He's like, nope, not happening. Done. He's going to climb down the ladder. I do love how that ladder fits right there. Nice little connector between the two. And he's going to dismount as well. And hopefully Tars will land as gently as Mr. Bell did. And oh, yes. Whoa. Tars, you okay, buddy? He's like, nope, wigging out. It's a good day. I think he saw that sandstorm and kind of freaked out. Alright. So there's Tars and Mr. Mike. Malfunction Mike. Remember to fix things. And so he's going to climb out and he's going to grab some stuff. Now we can grab everything here, most everything here. We're going to collect the data off of that. I believe we did that. Unless the frame rate, the frame rate's being. Okay, so we got that one. We're going to grab that. I think we can activate this. We can grab it, we're not going to grab it. Oh, we can activate that one too. Ooh, there's some science that needs to be done. Wait! Mr. Mike, you must get back on board. And the reason why is we're going to store a couple of things there, but we forgot to do a thing. We have to log the reflectiveness of the ground. So it's going to check for hydrogen. There appears to be traces of water in the soil. Yes, for 160 science there are. Alright, so that one we can do here. The rest of that stuff's from flight, so we're going to have him EVA. I guess I should have... I got excited. I should have had him do that with the rest of the ground scans, but that's okay. We're going to take that data. We are going to take the pressure data, if we haven't already. Alright, we're going to take the gravioli. Actually, the gravioli doesn't have any data, so we're not going to grab that. We are going to, however, go straight down here to this guy, and we're going to grab the data out of the Science Junior. So that's all the data that we need out of there. Now, Mike's going to run a few more tests before we do the flag planting ceremony. Somewhere around in here. Right, we did that. We're going to do the atmospheric scan. So we're going to log pressure data. The atmosphere is pretty thin, even at the surface. I don't think parachutes or wings would work very well here. Well, we kind of disproved that theory a teeny tiny bit, but that's okay. That's okay. Well, it doesn't really work, but it works, if that makes any sense. It works, but not massively well, as it says. We can also activate... See, the problem is we can record seismic data, but we have nothing to smash into the planet's surface. So that becomes kind of problematic. So we're going to turn on surface monitoring, but there's only one ship we could possibly smash into the planet, and it has our long-range antenna on it, and we need it. So if we did, it would cause a massive problem with the whole going home thing. Let's go ahead and log our temperature. Collected and recorded temperature data from the environment. Okay. Now we logged the pressure data, right? Yes, review data, and then the gravioli scan. Log gravity data. The sensor performs a detailed, calibrated sweep of local gravity on Duna. Alright, keep that data as well. And then, of course, the materials bay. Oh, and the goo canister as well, it's up there in the corner. Very slow, but I like how it pops out and gets all lit up. Boop. Opening the sample container, you find that everything is turned red. Initial tests show that it'll never wash out of white spacesuits. You consider sending missions in pink EVA suits to reduce cleaning costs. 200 science, indeed. Alright, and then we're going to observe our mystery goo as well. Mike doesn't need to get out yet. You observe the goo. Well, you know, simple is as simple does. Alright, Mike will get out. And he will head down the ladder slightly, and he will grab this. Done. He will also grab this data. I think we already have that data, but it'll tell us once we try to put it back inside the thing. Now we have this data as well. Okay, and we'll go down the ladder a little ways. Poor Mike, he doesn't get to set foot on Duna for quite some time. Okay, grab that. And then we're going to store it all, and it'll tell us whether or not we can. Store experiments. All items stored. Wonderful! All items have been stored! Haha! Alright, down we go. Very low. Is that another sandstorm headed our way? Probably the edge of the same one. It's probably just intermixed. And dismount. Oop, and a good dismount. Alright! Excellent. Still with a slow frame rate, but that is not bad at all. Now, since Mr. Mike and Mr. Bell were able to do awesome things, I think it's only fitting that our dear friend Tars gets to do something. And what Tars gets to do is he gets to decide where the flag goes, and he's going to decide that the flag goes in the dirt before the dirt gets to the flag, because the dirt is coming fast. Look, sky dirt. All right, we're going to ignore the sky dirt for now, and we're going to plant a flag. That is right. We're going to plant a flag. There's a flag planting ceremony right here in the middle of a sandstorm. Here it comes. Bloop. And twink. And there's our flag, which we can't see because it's perpendicular to the sun. Oh well, can't complain. Ooh, and what to call this place? I could call it that, but I think it would be rude. let's see. We have Malfunction Mike. We have Nicholas Bell. We have Tars the Great. So we're gonna say the Great Malfunctioning Bell Site. Here, Tars, Mike, and Nicholas landed successfully. How do you spell successfully? I think there's 2 S's. Fully on Duna using only parachutes. Take that, science! There's a comma there. There you go. Ta-da! Yay! Way to punch Karma in the face! So now that we've punched Karma in the face, and we have, okay, I don't know why it goes to all 3. Okay, so this is Mr. Flag. That is Mr. Mike. And, okay, so there you go. We'll go to Mr. Bell. So now Mr. Bell needs to store his scientific... Did I just turn on his headlight? No, there's just a flashlight. Mr. Bell will use his jets here. Hello. That's actually not bad. You could probably just jump and grab it without too much difficulty. Alright, so he will grab this. And he's going to store his scientific data here. Right here. Store experiments. Boom, done. I think he can he repack this from here? He can, okay. Now, we don't need to repack those from here, but we do need to repack them on the way home. Or before we land back on Kerbin. That's going to be, I know I'm planning pretty far ahead, but if we don't repack those, landing on Kerbin is going to be kind of painful. Other than that, everything seems to be working perfectly fine, which I like. The only scientific data we can't bring back with us right now, unfortunately, is this little guy right here. He's on this body, and once we get up to the other ship, this, from the neck down, all this is going bye-bye. It's not coming with us. We need to conserve on weight, and the best way to do that is just to dump all this in orbit. And so because of that, we will be taking a collection of science from these guys, and these guys, and so on and so forth, and from that we will worry about the rest. But I have to plan our ascent, and I have to get everything set up for the go. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera for dual purposes, both to have a section of video that's saved and safe and happy and awesome, and to save our game, and also to take a break, but you know, just feel better, because that was tough. That was stressful and long. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave the guys here for just a minute. We're going to go ahead and save our game. I'm going to get everything set up for a return launch, and then we're going to see how long it's going to take us to get back to Kerbin from here, because that's going to be a little bit of a thing, because we have to wait for our launch window and so on and so forth. And that might be, well, we only have 4 days down here, so we have to be back up on the ship to do that regardless of anything, because in order to fast forward time and to keep our guys alive for the possible year it'll take to get back to Kerbin, we're going to have all that food, water, and oxygen. So that's going to be super fun. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and do all that jazz off camera. The launch, of course, we will put back on camera as well as the docking, but there'll be some in-between stuff that we'll not worry about too much. So I'll see you guys there. Alright everybody, it is later in the day, and the sandstorms appear to have moved on to another side of the planet, and everyone's all set up and ready to go. The flag's out, whatnot, so on and so forth. And it is time to get out of here. It is actually time to take off and get out of here. So we are going to lift off, and we have to head to the 90, which is in this direction, I believe. 4590, yep, we're headed to the 90. And because our quarry, however you want to pronounce it, is coming our way. So let's go ahead and lift off. And I hope this works, because here we go. Okay, so there's our lift off. And we want to head, heavy. Alright, so we want to kind of tilt, because this is going to be just like a normal takeoff on Kerbin, but it's going to be a little bit more hefty because it's, well, you know, I'm not really good at taking off from an atmosphere-laden planet, as you can see with me derping this up already. Let's go ahead and actually take off. Shall we do that? Let's get up, get some altitude, because our apoapsis sight's only at 1,000, and if I start tilting over now, we're going to have a major problem. Alright, so we're doing 80. So yeah, I tilted over a little fast. That was my bad. Let's max out our throttle so we're just not wasting it. Now, once this is done, these 4 outer engines will be jettisoned. We'll just dump those. Ooh, that looks nice. Look at that. The Great Malfunctioning Bell Site. I guess we could have just called it the Great Malfunctioning Bell, and it probably would have worked just as well, but that's okay. That's okay. We had fun with it, so it's not that big a deal. Now, once we lose these outer engines, we will lose a little bit of our upward thrust, but it won't be a lot. It won't be enough to cause us any major issue. Our thrust-to-rate ratio should stay pretty well up. It's like at 3.9 right now. It should stay up there about 3 point something, without too big of an issue. So our current height is, wow, really 18,000. Not bad. Alright, so we're just burning away. Doing a pretty good job getting up there. 24. Alright, 25. So there's nothing really to do here except, I suppose I could dump the first stage and then cut to the sky, because this burn's going to take us a little while regardless, and I think I'll do that. I will cut as soon as we dump this first stage, and then I will worry about doing all the docking bits. I will of course show the docking, but then after that I think we're going to wait until it's about time to land back at Kerbin before we come back, because that's just going to be easier for everybody. Alright, so we're at 50k up there. That's more than... Oh, there we go, that's gone. So let's just go ahead and dump those. Bye-bye, little guys. Just get rid of some of that extra weight. And, perfect. So I will see you guys, if nothing goes wrong, I will see you guys when we're ready to dock with the main pod. So I'll see you there. Alrighty, everybody, the moment of truth. We are coming down back onto Kerbin. Our orbit's a little bit off kilter. It's not exactly equatorial, but I didn't figure it would be that big of a deal. As you can see, there's the desert back there receding. KSC is actually, well, it's probably right over those hills somewhere, so it's not too far away. I am keeping the SAS unit on because, unfortunately, this ladder is stuck to our heat shield. And that's causing us to drift slightly to one side. It's catching just enough air to cause us to drift slightly to one side. But otherwise, everything's working fine. In order to come down, we did have to dump the hitchhiker. I did have to bring the hitchhiker down as well. So the hitchhiker is currently somewhere about 500 meters or so. Oh, there it is. So it's about 13 kilometers above us, and it will slowly be entering the atmosphere as well. It's just a little bit higher than we are. Not a problem though, because I wasn't really in the mood to refuel it, and I don't think we're going to need it. On the way back, I forgot to get science high over Duna as well as around the sun. That's going to cost us a little bit in the long run, but hopefully it won't matter. Again, I'm hoping it won't matter. If we didn't even come close, I mean, we only need 1,000 science. So if we didn't come close, the easiest way to get that science is just like to drop a single probe on the moon and transmit back a couple of reports, and we'll be set. So that's not a problem. But I felt a real mission to a real planet was super important during this season because we haven't had a chance to do that. We've been doing all this, we've been scrounging for science locally, and I felt that a huge chunk of science from a planet far away would be really, really helpful. But I really don't want to extend science acquisition. Acquisition is the word I'm looking for. Science acquisition over the course of 2 seasons just to complete one project. It seems counterintuitive. It really seems counterintuitive to the project in question. Now, I did repack the parachutes, so they are repacked. They should fire perfectly fine. I forgot. I remembered after I had already undocked and left or was leaving the Duna system, that I said I was going to grab some extra parachutes for safety's sake. Yeah, I forgot the parachutes. So we have parachutes. They've been repacked, but unfortunately they are the only parachutes we have. We don't have any other ones. I guess if there's ever a time to test and see if they work, it's about the same time that you start seeing trees appear on the mountaintop. So let's go ahead and that's okay. So that's not working. I guess I have to manually deploy my chute. Not helpful. Not helpful. Not helpful. These are set to go off at 3,000 feet, not 500, but that's okay. I should have a third chute here, which I'd really like to open before we die horribly. Oop, there. Okay, so that was a little bit of a jolt. Dare off. That third one's gonna go off at 500. Yeah, I'm really happy those didn't tear off because that would have been really bad because I didn't realize that once a chute is repacked, you have to. I think you have to reset the thing that they're in. You can't just reactivate them. You have to reset them to a new stage and then you can activate them. But everyone's okay. Nobody died from that, as far as I can tell. I mean, everyone looks alive and their camera's still working, so that's a start. I think if the camera stopped working, then that basically means that they're gone. No one wants to stare at a dead Kerbal forever, or even for a few moments. Okay, so it's going to take us a little while to get down because these opened way too high. The last one will open at 500, but these ones up here are opened way too high. Now we will be landing on the side of a hill, but hopefully that won't affect too much. Now we do have some science stuck in these little guys as well as the science that are in the capsule, so I'm hoping that we'll beef up our numbers. The full trip, 100% of the trip took 276 days, 23 hours, and we'll say 10 minutes just in case it takes us that long to get to the ground. I doubt it's going to be 277 days, although that would be really awesome. Well, okay, let me put it this way. It would be awesome in the roundness of the number. It would be crappy that we'd have to wait an hour to hit the ground. I could always just cut one of the parachutes. Nah, that wouldn't be good. The game's been doing that like a lot. Like I'll click and I'll turn, and then I'll click to turn again, and it'll jump back. Like it'll jump back like it forgot where the camera was. I don't think we've ever landed here before. I don't even know where this is. Is this the Badlands? Can we get a crew report? Well, I think no, we already have a crew report. Oh man, we need a I don't think this is the Badlands, but that'd be really interesting if it were the Badlands because I haven't gotten any science out of the Badlands, and that'd be kind of well, even if that's the Badlands, this will be hillside, so I don't think it'll matter anyway. So I'm not worried so much about the local science. Pretty trees. I think those are trees. Well, those are trees. So I'm assuming that they're also trees that are just on the side of a hill. They're really interesting looking trees. I don't really do much of this ground scatter. I never really did much of the ground scatter before because it was, work in progress and takes up a little bit of processing power and so on and so forth. And so I was like, I'll leave it off. And then eventually I turned it on, and it adds a little bit to the game. It's a little sparse in places, but it adds a little bit to the game. Maybe as time goes on, they'll get more and more trees or something. Maybe trees will become more than just non-obstacles. Rocks and trees rocks. They'll become actual obstacles. So we'll tee up just in case we hit hard. Okay, good. We didn't roll. And we've landed a full round trip to Duna and back with Taz the Great, Nicholas Bell, and Malfunction Mike. Now, I'd have them get out and walk around, but we are on the side of a hill, and I don't feel like messing with that. And they've been on a long trip, and our frame rate has kind of come back up, and those are good things. So we're going to get them out. We're going to get them to base, and we're going to figure out how much science we got. So I'll skip the loading screen, and I'll see you guys when we get back to base. So let's hopefully get enough science to get this thing started finally after all this time, because wouldn't that be nice? So I'll see you guys over there. And the survey says 1,993.6 science. As a matter of fact, we got 993.6 science more than we needed, which I will not complain about. And that is epic. So much science that we got. Just all the science that basically we showed getting, except for maybe 1 or 2 bits that we may have gotten off camera, like an EVA report around Duna and that kind of thing. So with that out of the way, let's just go to our lab of scienciness and get this pig right here, this guy right here. Probing extremely high energy levels has yielded the keys to the production of exotic matter, allowing the production of novel new technologies previously thought impossible. Oh yes, now we have 995 science, and I guess, for lack of a better option, I mean, these things are expensive, but I honestly don't care. I honestly don't care. I'm thinking that what we'll do is we will just buy it. Well, you know what? There might be a piece, you know, I'm gonna forego for the moment. Going to forego using the remainder of our science to just buy these out because I have this feeling. There's a thing in the back of my mind. What is this? Oh, it's a couple of pieces for the winches. Okay, yeah, we don't need those. Anyway, I have this little thing in the back of my mind. You know what it's saying? It's saying if you spend that science now, you're gonna find out that somewhere in one of these nodes that you have the science for right now that you won't once you spend it. Will have a thing in it that you need. And you'll have to go out again and get more science. But we did get to the end. We got to the end of the tech tree. And at the end of the tech tree, pardon me, at the end of the tech tree is the beginning of our project. Yeah, that's just not, that is no bueno. So, absolutely, I know this video is going to be huge. It's going to be long. It's just huge and long and long and huge. And so, I'm going to use a little bit of that shortness that I have, that 4 kilobyte shortness I have, and I would like to thank you all very much for joining me, 4 kilobyte short, on this Let's Play of Kerbal Space Program, Kerbal Space Adventures, and in the next video, we will get to rocking and rolling on our big project, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as, or enjoy, seeing it come to fruition, as I have, designing the original idea, but not so much the acquisition of the science to implement it. And then I will see you guys next video.